I'm Karen McBride, Web Services Librarian for the Des Plaines Public Library in Des Plaines, Illinois. Welcome back to Film School on the Fly, a series of short videos full of quick tips and tricks to help give your video projects a more professional quality. Our topics today include storyboarding, scripting, and planning your projects. Plenty of classic YouTube videos have been created spontaneously or with very little planning. After all, it's hard to write a script for a puppy and a bunch of Pepsi cans. But 10 minutes of meandering dialogue, inside jokes no one else will get, too many special editing effects, and not enough content will drive viewers away in droves. The video projects you create for your libraries will have a specific purpose, a message you want to be sure that viewers receive. That might be instruction on a database. It might be a marketing pitch for a new program or service. It might simply be a slideshow of photographs from a community event. No matter the purpose and the intended audience, make sure your message is clear, concise, and on target. Or in the words of comedian Steve Martin,
here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
So storyboarding means plotting out your video project scene by scene. There are a lot of different ways you can do this. You can do it by yourself or with a group. You can use a whiteboard with markers and write out scene by scene, or you can also do the same thing but with sticky notes. If you're going to try the sticky note approach, I would recommend getting a larger size post-it note. You're going to be writing a lot of things on here, but what's great about doing this is that it's so easy to add a scene or to move the scenes around. Let's say I change my mind about this scene, take it off and maybe move it down to an area of scenes that are on the waiting list. You're not sure if you're going to include them. Each scene in your storyboard can be represented by words describing the scene. You may even want to draw out, a rough idea of how you're going to frame the scene with the camera, where the different actors and players are going to be standing. You may even want to get as specific as spelling out in your storyboard things like titles that you'll need, captions, camera techniques, anything that you want to include. I tend to make a lot of my video projects on my own, so I do my storyboarding on the computer. I like the ease of it. I just open up a new document and start typing. It's really easy to cut and paste, move scenes around, or delete them as needed. I can also then flesh out the outline with any kind of dialogue or narration that I'm going to add, and making it even easier, I can then copy any lines of dialogue and paste them with a larger font and make cue cards. Cue cards can be very helpful to your on-screen talent, especially if they're not accustomed to memorizing things. But remember to have the card in a place so that the person can either make eye contact with the camera or with anyone else in the scene with whom they are in dialogue. The storyboard may be all you need to create your project, or you may need a full script. You don't need to be a professional screenwriter to generate a good script. Once your storyboard is in place, you know what information needs to be conveyed, what dialogue or narration needs to be written, and who your speakers and actors will be. If you really want to plunge into script writing in a serious way, you can download a free program like CeltX, which walks you through the entire script writing process. But keep in mind, CeltX is really designed for the person who is creating characters, settings, and other dramatic features. Remember that attention spans are short, particularly on the internet. YouTube might allow you to post a 10-minute video, but why not shoot for 5 minutes or even 2 or 3? Try to get to the heart of your message quickly and clearly. Think about the best television commercials you've ever seen. You want people to remember those funny and clever bits that you've worked in, but you don't want them to only remember those parts and not remember your message or content. With your storyboard in place, you'll want to analyze the scenes and figure out the order in which you want to shoot them. It may be to your advantage to shoot them out of order. Let's say your video starts and ends with the narrator standing in the library's lobby. Film both of those scenes at the same time and then arrange them properly in the editing process. The lighting will be the same, and the speaker's voice, clothing, makeup, hair will all be consistent, and you won't have to set up and tear down as many times.
Your storyboard will also guide you through the editing process. If possible, try to assemble all the pieces of your video before you start editing. It's much more difficult and messy to insert scenes into a partially completed project. Effects, transitions, titles, and other elements can get out of sequence if you aren't careful when inserting scenes. Finally, be ruthless in the editing process. Remember that on the internet, short really is sweet. You may only have 30 or 60 seconds of your viewer's attention. Humor can help or hinder your message. Make sure you stay focused and appropriate. If your video is for instructional or informational purposes, try the Speech 101 approach. Provide an outline of your content, then deliver the content, then end with a quick wrap-up and reminder. Use titles and captions to reinforce your content. Thanks for watching another episode of Film School on the Fly. Make sure you visit our companion website at www.dppl.org/video for a lot of related resources and more in-depth information.